Welcome to the Wimba Live Classroom online tutorial. Today we're going to be going over how to use Wimba Classroom, some cool tips and tricks you can use to help improve your experience, some materials that you'll need, and then we'll also go over some of the individual tools. So what is Wimba Classroom? Wimba Live Classroom helps in the success of online learning. It is a live virtual online learning environment that includes audio, video, application sharing, content display, a whiteboard, and polling assessment tools that may be used by your instructor. These interactive features will allow you to hear, speak to, and see your instructors, as well as your fellow classmates while using your computer. First, we'll go over some of the materials you might need within CourseDen to use Wimba Live Classroom. These are only recommendations, but they can help you improve your experience as well as improve your experience between you and your instructor or you and your classmates. First is a headphone or microphone. These are usually used in combination. A headset usually will combine both of these, so just think of a headset that you would wear over your ears with a microphone coming out. Webcam, this is another option that you can use if you'd like to use video. You can use this to display yourself and then also see other people on the screen. You can also participate solely with your computer, mainly if it's a laptop. Typically they have speakers built in as well as a microphone built in, but if not, you'll have to get either a webcam or a headset in order to get your microphone. Also, make sure you give yourself a lot of time to practice and log in and check any issues prior to the meeting time. This is one of our main tips. Always log in early and test everything out. So those are some of the materials you might need for using Wimba Classroom. Next, we're going to go over classroom tools. Classroom tools. Upon entering the room, you will see, so we'll click enter this room, a setup wizard. Now it's basically asking you, hey, is your computer ready? What I always recommend to do is use run wizard, so we'll click that button. It's going to basically give you a setup wizard to make sure you're going to run Wimba correctly. So we're going to click start. It will move on through the processes, kind of giving you checks as it goes. So I passed my Java, it moved on. It passed my pop-up blocker and my Java pass, so it moved on. Signed applet, if you see anything here that says allow or run, make sure you click that. We're going to click next. Here's that run thing I was talking about just a second ago. So we're going to click run. Okay, that makes that pass. Next, it's going to test my text chat. Say that 5 times fast. So it will load the applet within this window, and it's going to see if everything's going to work correctly. So I passed that. Next, it's doing its playback, so it's loading this as well. Make sure you let this load all the way. You're going to hear a nice lady speaking over your speakers, so if you're wearing a headset, you'll hear it there. If you're displaying your sound out of your speakers, you're actually going to hear it there. So I can hear that through my speakers. I'm going to click next. Next, it's going to actually load that applet again, but this time it's actually going to test your microphone. So it will test to make sure everyone else can hear you. You should hear 3 loud beeps, which I just did, and we're going to click on the talk button. You want to click on this and hold it down. It'll turn yellow, and then what you should see on the right hand bar is a green, yellow, and red bar start moving. This means that your mic is displaying and working correctly. We're going to click next, and lastly we need to click launch. This is going to launch your Wimba Classroom. Now once again, we always recommend you to do this well before your Wimba Classroom session is about to begin. That way, in case you run into issues, you can actually call us and we'll help you out. Okay, so we're going to click on launch. This may take a moment or two to load, but just be patient. Everything's going to start loading as it goes. Just let it do its thing. Always be patient whenever this is loading. Your student name, so your name will be displayed here. You should see your instructor as well as your other classmates in here whenever you enter. You'll hear 3 loud beeps, which I just did, and that pretty much means everything is loaded. Next, we're going to go on and go through each of the tools to introduce them one at a time and show you what each does. First, signal strength. To the far left, you should see hopefully 3 green bars. This is your signal identifier. This will show how fast your internet connection is working. If this is yellow or red, we recommend you move as close to the router as possible. Typically wireless internet connections will do this. Get as close to the internet signal as you can to improve that. But basically, the higher that is, the better your quality will be. And we always recommend you plug into a wired connection if possible. That's a great tip to improve your signal strength within Wimba Classroom. Next, we're going to move on to the talk button. We did see this earlier in the setup wizard, but Basically, just click on it and hold your cursor down. This will activate your mic, and actually, just as you see on mine, your right hand bar should start moving up and down as if you're kind of speaking into it. So this is your microphone level going up and down based on what you're saying. We're going to release that, and you should hear a click, which I did. This means that your microphone has been turned off so everyone else can hear and talk as well. So within Wimba Classroom, we typically recommend one person at a time to speak, so kind of always wait your turn, be called on, that kind of thing as a proper etiquette method. Next, we're going to go over audio output levels. This is that little bar I was talking about earlier, but if we click on it, you can actually click on and adjust your settings for each of your microphone and your speakers. So you can turn down your microphone level, the right one. Also, you can turn down your speaker level. So if you either hear an echo or your speakers are way too loud, you can actually click on this bar and bring this down. That will turn down your speakers or your headset. If everyone is having trouble hearing you, you can actually turn this microphone option up, and it'll make your microphone just a little bit louder so everyone can hear you a little better. That's pretty much it for the audio output. Next, we're going to go to video. The video icon kind of looks like a little miniature camera. We'll click that, and it will always display no video. Whenever anyone's talking, it's actually going to display their video within this area. So when no one's talking, which no one is right now, your video will not be displayed. So if you want everyone to be able to see you when you're talking, you want to open this little eye icon. So we'll click on that. This is going to display your video down in the bottom left. As you can see, I have a green screen behind me, but that's how you turn on your audio. I'm going to actually turn that off. But whenever you hit the talk button, what that will do is it's actually going to display your video within the main video area. So whoever's talking and holding down that talk button will display here if they have their webcam on. If it is either off or they're not holding the talk button, they will not be displayed up here. The window you see right here is kind of an indication of where you are on the screen, so that way you're not off the screen or leaning to the left, or they can't see you, or your shade is on so they can't see anything. This is to kind of let you know what everyone else will see when you click on the talk button. Next, we're going to go to Phone Simulcast. Phone Simulcast, what is that? It's this little phone icon down here, and let's say your headset is not working. Let's say you don't have a headset, or you need a microphone on the fly and you didn't bring your webcam with you. This is an option for you to use your phone as a voice over IP. You'll dial this number, and the operator will ask you to enter your PIN. So you'll enter this as you see it, and then what this will do is it will activate your microphone and your speaker through your phone. So you'll hear everyone talking through your phone, as well as you can talk through your microphone on your phone that's already pre-existing. So one warning we will give you: whenever you use this option, make sure you mute your phone. Your microphone is pretty much always on whenever you're using the phone option, so whenever you don't want to be speaking or you don't want to be heard, mute your phone so that everyone doesn't hear you kind of constantly broadcasting. But this is a great solution to use if you're ever having technical difficulties, so we definitely recommend this as kind of like a backup. Next, we're going to go on to the options menu. This is a great place to mess with your technical settings, both audio, video, and then other settings within Wimba Classroom. I'll go over the main ones that are within this options menu, but try and go in here and just play around and see what you can do with this menu. The first one that I'll go over is video inputs. This is going to show your webcams that are hooked up to your computer. So let's say your webcam isn't working correctly. You could go here, click on this, and maybe select your webcam manually. That may make your webcam pop up as it should. Also, I'm going to go over audio inputs. Basically, this means what would you like to use for your microphone. So I have 3 different options. You can actually use your webcam microphone, which is definitely fine to use. You can use a separate microphone, which is what I'm using right now. And then third, you can actually use an input that's plugged into the front of your tower. So if you have one of those plugs for your microphone that's not a USB, it's one of those manual plugs, you can choose this option to choose that microphone. Talk hotkey. What is a talk hotkey? So let's say I don't want to press on the talk button every time I want to talk. I want to use a key to do this on the keyboard. So you can actually press down the control button, which is what I'll do. Notice how the talk button turns on and my microphone is now working. So I'm holding down the control button on my keyboard to activate my microphone, and then I'll release it, which turns off my microphone, and the talk button goes back to the gray color. If you plan to multitask within Wimba Classroom, I recommend switching the talk hotkey to either F8 or none to make sure that you're not using the control key by accident. If you hear a clicking noise or if your microphone starts to turn on while you're working on a document, it's probably because you forgot to turn off the hotkey. Whenever you hit Control C for maybe copy, it's actually going to turn on your microphone and you'll hear an abrupt click within the live classroom. So make sure you change this to avoid turning on your microphone whenever you don't mean to. Next, disconnect media. This is a great little tool to use if your microphone or your speakers or your webcam aren't working quite right. You can actually disconnect the media, which is what I'll do. And then we'll go back to options and we'll reconnect the media. What this will do is make sure that your computer is picking up all of the new hardware within the system to make sure everything's going to work correctly for you. This is a great troubleshooting tip that we recommend on the fly to try and get your audio, video, or microphone to work. Next, we'll go over the chat tool. Down at the bottom left, you'll actually have the main room kind of as your to. So if you type here, what this will do is send out a message to the main room using this method. So you'll just type your message and then hit the enter key. If you want to compose a message to a specific person, you can choose that via the tool here. Let me move this up a little bit. There we go. Make sure y'all can see it. Demo student, that's myself, but if that were the instructor or another student, you could select their name there and then type a private message to that person, and then what that will do is not send it to the main room. One thing you want to keep in mind within Wimba Live Classroom is that everything is recorded. So even if it's a private message, it will be logged and the instructor can view it from their view menu screen. Next, we're going to go over the participant list as well as the different emoticons that you can use here. You'll see everybody listed that's in the classroom here, so you can check to see if your instructor is there or if another student is in there via this list. You'll have a set of different icons you can use. Check basically is a nice way to say yes without having to use your microphone. X being a way to say no. The hand tool, this is called the raise hand tool. You can actually click this and it will put a number next to your name based on however many people click it in front of you. So if you're the first one, you'll obviously be number 1 and so on and so forth. This will give your instructor a notification that you want to kind of ask a question or throw a comment in. Use this to kind of cue up your instructor to say, hey, I have a question, rather than just clicking on talk and kind of jumping in. This is a polite way to raise your hand within a Wimba Live Classroom. Whenever you're done kind of making your comment or giving your question, just make sure you always click this icon to kind of turn it off. Last, you have a set of just statuses that are here. You can give a thumbs up, a thumbs down. You can be clapping if you think something's really good. It's kind of like a applause method. But just think of these as cool little ways to give a status update for everyone else. So if you master these tips, these will definitely help you out within Wimba Classroom. Lastly, we have just a set of main tips for you to use. Those are: use Firefox. As you can see here, I'm using Firefox right now. This is a browser that's free and works very well with Wimba Classroom. If you're working in Internet Explorer and you run into issues, try this browser as kind of your backup. We do recommend this to be your primary, but if you're an Internet Explorer user, which some are, this can be a good way to make your Wimba Classroom kind of work for you on the fly. So if you're running into issues, this is definitely one of the first things we'll recommend. If your signal is a little low, let's say it's not giving you the 3 green bars as it should, make sure you sit as close to the router as possible to make sure your wireless internet connection is as strong as it can be. Oppositely, we also recommend whenever you're plugged into a wired connection, this is the best option for you. You'll always get a better signal regardless of your internet speed if you're plugged into a manual internet connection. Next, we recommend that you get a headset or a webcam. The headset is the better of the two. This will minimize echoing that will occur due to speakers. If you're using external speakers and an external microphone such as a webcam, what you can encounter is an echo effect. If this occurs, turn down your speakers and move your microphone as far away from the speakers as you can. This should minimize all echoing within Wimba Classroom. It's kind of like a give and take. Turn your speakers down or move your mic farther away. Next, use the setup wizard. This is always good to run before you enter your classroom. do this ahead of time. If you do it at the last minute, sometimes you can run into issues and you won't have quite enough time to kind of get everything fixed. So make sure you do this as early as you possibly can, and also just go in there and kind of play with it and try everything out. Make sure you know how to use each tool and each feature. Lastly, don't get stuck. Ask for help. You can ask your instructor, you can ask your fellow classmates, and you can also call our help desk for support. If it's after hours, I'll provide that number here, the after hours number. If that's the case, make sure you call them. Our hours are currently 8 until 5, Monday through Friday. So if it's in the after hours time period, make sure you call that after hours number to get assistance. After watching this video, following our tutorial, trying out our tips and tricks, and also going in here and practicing for yourself, you should be a master of Wimba Live Classroom. If you have any questions, always feel free to call us via our helpline or our email provided here, as well as check us out on Facebook and on Twitter, and also check out our blog at this address. Thanks everyone, and have a great day.